Hi! In this tutorial, we'll use BindBox to build the backend of a task list in just 10 minutes. In this time, the initial configuration and the deployment of the application are included. When we finish this tutorial, we will have an operational backend that exposes a GraphQL API, which can be used with a web framework such as React, Vue.js, or through some no-code tool, where you can build the interface. If you haven't heard about BindBox yet, go to bindbox.io. There you will be able to know all its benefits and register if you wish. We will build the backend of the software to manage tasks to be carried out within a company. A software of this characteristic should meet the following basic requirements: create tasks, delete tasks, mark tasks as active, mark tasks as completed, get the list of tasks. In this tutorial, we will see how to solve two of these requirements: create tasks and get the list of tasks, so that the remaining three are a challenge for you. The model required for this software is only one: task with properties, title, description, and status. If we represent this data in a diagram, it will look like this. Once we are clear about the requirements and our modeled data, we can start creating our backend with BindBox. When entering the BindBox editor, the first thing we see is the page with our project. At the moment, it is empty. To create a new project, click in the New Project button. Then indicate the name, and if we want, we will give you a short description of your objective. By pressing the Create button, BindBox will create and configure a space to develop our backend. It will also build the deployment process automatically. Once the creation of the project is finished, we are directed to the interface to work on the newly created project. This interface is made up of three main sections. On the left side, we see the explorer of the different workflows that we're creating on the project data diagram. In the center, we can see and edit the workflows and the project data diagram. On the right side, we will find the available nodes to create and edit the workflows. Furthermore, we can deploy a project as a GraphQL API with just one click. The first things we will do is build our data diagram in BindBox. For this, we will click on the Models button on the left side of the editor. When we do this, we see the following screen. To create a new model, simply drag the model node on the right to the editing area. Doing so creates a new model and opens its configuration. Within the configuration, we indicate the name of the model and its properties. The properties are title, description, and status. For each of them, we must type a name and select the data type, the length, and if it's mandatory or not. Most of the editor fields include a help icon next to it when you hover your mouse over the icon. This will better explain the purpose of the information we will be entering. Finally, we confirm the information by pressing the Save button. Once we define the model, we begin to create the workflows. The first workflow that we will create is Create Task. For this, we press the Add Workflow button. We indicate the name of the new workflow. We will name it Add Task because it represents what the process will do, and optionally a description. Finally, we press the Create button. Once created, the workflow appears in the bar of the left side. When we open it, we will see something like the following. The workflow that we just created contains an initial node. In this case, the flow has the objective of creating a new task. So we will use this initial node to receive the necessary information: title, description, and status. To edit the information of the initial node, we double-click on the node. With this, we will see its configuration. The first thing we must do is name the node. Then we indicate the node parameters. If you're familiar with software development, the workflow resembles a function, and these parameters of the workflows resembles the parameters that a function receives. We could also make an analogy with these functions available in a spreadsheet application. To finish the node configuration, press the Save button. Now we must record the information received at the initial node into the database that was created automatically for this project. To create new records in the database, we use the Add node that we can find on the right side. To use them, we simply drag that node to the flow using the mouse and then connect it to the Start node. As with the previous node, we double-click on the Add node and configure it to save the information received within the task model. The first thing is to indicate a name for the node. Then select the model in which we want to save this information. Finally, indicate what value of those received in the Start node we will save here. We can notice that this configuration is different from that of the previous node. This makes sense because the objective of this node is different. At this point, we were already registering the task. We only have to return the result of the operation, so that the frontend of your application can inform the user. For this, we add the return node to our flow and connect it with the add node. When entering the configuration, we must define the name and select the information to return. In this case, task. That's what created by the add node. Once the configuration is confirmed, we will have our first complete workflow. We must save the changes in the project by pressing the Save button on the right side. You can also save by pressing Ctrl S or Command S if you're using Mac. BindBox is still working on the automatic sync function. The next requirement that we will solve will be get a list of tasks. For this, we will create a new workflow. We will call this workflow as getAllTasks. This workflow must retrieve all the registered tasks from the database and return them. In this case, the Start node does not need input parameters, so we will only indicate the name. Then we will add a search node that allows us to search previously stored information. Here we must indicate that we want to retrieve the information from the task model. We will not add search conditions as we need all the tasks. This node handles concepts very similar to those of SQL to make a query to a database. To finish the workflow, we must add a node that returns the information retrieved by the search node. As you may have guessed, we will use the return node. In the configuration of this node, we indicate its name and the information it must return. In this case, it will be a list of tasks that were obtained with the search node added in the previous step. At this point, we already have the first version of our backend. To see it working, we simply have to click on the Launch button at the top end of the right part. Clicking on this button starts the deployment process, which converts the workflows that you see in the editor in a fully functional backend. This backend will be exposed as a GraphQL API. This allows you to take control what you want or need to receive from the backend. If you want to know more about GraphQL and its benefits, we recommend you visit the GraphQL website. On this screen, we see our GraphQL API through a tool called Playground. This allows us to interact with the API immediately. This is ideal in the development stage. BindBox builds a schema that includes the gradient model together with the workflow, so we can use them directly to execute the actions. Now we only have to evaluate that our backend works. For this, we will use the Workload Add Task to create a task. On the left side, we can write the operation. To execute the operation, we press the center button and receive the result on the right side. Then, to verify that the information is indeed restored, we execute the workflow getAllTask. By executing this workflow, the entered tasks are obtained. In this case, only one, the one we have just inserted. That's it. We have built a backend just by defining what we need. It is also ready for use in production environments, without worrying about infrastructure, deployments, or scalability. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you soon!